Welcome back everybody to the next episode of my SnowRunner Hard Mode playthrough. Picking up, it's a couple of days later in terms of me reloading the save, but the truck is exactly where I left it off. And we are going to continue as I indicated at the end of the last episode, which is there's pretty much only one contract that we can do other than logging. We're locked into a sequence of contracts where some of them are dependent on finishing this one, so this is the last one we've currently got access to that isn't locked behind this and subsequent missions. So we're gonna drive around Island Lake and we're gonna collect 3 times 4 slot large cargo containers, once from each of the old drilling sites, and we're basically clearing out the trash. So we're in the White Western Star with the 5 slot semi trailer on. I think it's probably the truck and trailer combination that makes the most sense for this task. It's the one that's on this map at least, so therefore it's the one that's going to get the job. So we'll pick up the first one, which is 3 abandoned drilling sites. So we're going to do them, well, we're certainly going to do the west one first. And then all 3 of these cargo loads get dropped off at the same place, which is the warehouse in the southeast corner of the map. That we can pick the cargo up anywhere in this large box. So just for efficiency purposes, we'll drive around the loop and pick it up on our way out of the box. So here we go, it's the first one. There doesn't look like there's any option to crane load this cargo. Oh, there is. There's a loading platform somewhere. Where's the loading platform then? 150 to auto load it. So where's that been put? That's just, okay. So it says loading platform, but it's actually just dropped it on the floor over here. So fine, we'll crane load it. Not that 150 times 3 breaks the bank, but it's kind of the more the principle of it's hard mode. Paying to load the cargo is part of hard mode. But if we have the ability, it's what, you know, it's why this truck has got a crane on it, to avoid paying that fee. So it seems a bit silly to not make use of the crane. Right then, so I'm not actually sure if this crane can reach that far. I may have to disconnect the trailer, but I'm going to try it. I hope if I put the legs down before I trying to lift it. Okay. Yeah, I think I might need to, because if I extend the crane, it's gonna fall. It's gonna, well, not fall. It's gonna drop under the weight of the cargo, like that. And I'm not going to be able to lift it when the crane is extended that far. Well, I'm going to see, just for my own interest, to see if it'll work. But this wouldn't be right even if this did work, really. So I can pack it even though it wasn't loaded anything like properly. But if I'm doing that, which is pretty fake, I may as well just pay the 150 to load it, also load it. I don't know. We'll have a think about that on the way to the next one. So now we've got to focus on getting this cargo safely to the southeast corner of the map. It's a bit funny that it auto-packed it then. I kind of thought it would, but that feature is a little bit cheesy, I think is the phrase I'm going to use. I had a comment on one of the videos, and once again I'm kind of a little bit overwhelmed by the subscriptions and comments and likes that I'm getting on these videos, because I honestly started this mostly to learn a bit about recording, a bit about editing, a bit about myself in terms of talking while I'm playing and narrating what I'm doing while I'm playing. Kind of did it for those reasons. The fact that I've got over 20 subscribers now is just remarkable. I love it. It makes my day. But and I had a comment from somebody who has planted a seed, damn you, in a nicest possible way, about on the one of the later phase maps. There's a truck, the S01E30, is it, which is kind of reputed to be the best, and it would be possible for me to go and get that truck now. It's free. You have to do some work in a snow map to get to it, but it would be within the realms of possibility for me to take one of the trucks that I've got now and pick that up. And so that seed is in my head now, and it's germinating, and I'm like, well, should I do that? Should I dedicate an episode to going off and getting a amazing 8-wheel drive Russian truck, and then, if not for Michigan, go to Alaska with something that's got much more capability than the two big trucks that I've currently got? So yeah, I'm toying with the idea of doing some exploration to boost the truck stable more than I had intended. I'm pretty sure I do know where I'm going, but I'm just going to put some markers in so that I can talk and not worry about the fact that the mission markers are all over the shop. It's a fairly steep descent, a little bit of a slope, being careful here. So yeah, thank you very much for the comment, and thank you very much for planting a seed in my head that I'm working out whether or not I want to do that, or whether I stick to my original plan, which is use the trucks you find on the map. Because that 8x8, and I could do the same thing, right? I could go to, even without the later phases, I've got enough money now to go to teleport over to the Russian Federation garage and get the Azov 8-wheel 64, 63 something truck, and then buy it but don't deploy it there, so I only pay to deploy it once, deploy it back here, and it would make mincemeat of tasks like this. It would trivialize a lot of this stuff, and that's probably the reason I'm not doing it. Is, do I want to trivialize this content, or do I want to kind of have the challenge of working with lesser trucks be part of the series? Yeah, so I'm just sharing my thought process and the interesting thought process that you guys' comments provoke for me. I've spoken in some early episodes about maybe going and getting the Taiga, and I agree with comments I had on that, is in that it's quite limited for the add-ons it can take, and unless I stay on the Russian Federation maps long enough to get the upgrades for it, it's also going to be quite limited in the, I don't think it has raised suspension by default, so I think I'd have to go and get that. I might have to go and get a better gearbox, better engine, etc. So it's not a case of just getting the truck and using it. Whereas that Azov truck, maybe not the Zix, because that is quite a time-consuming thing to do. But the Azov, I could get that in about 5 minutes, and it's just a case of go to the Tamir garage, buy it, deploy it back in Michigan, and within about 5 minutes I've got a really solid 8-wheel drive truck that even in stock configuration would dominate this map. So yeah, I'm still considering it, but it's an interesting little thing to think about. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not. I guess the counter argument to me worrying about it trivializing the content is that it takes so long to do anything that there are still probably hundreds of episodes if you wanted to do a series that 100% completed the game. Even with a better truck, it's still going to take a long time to finish the maps. So yeah, I think not ruling anything in or out at the moment. We're just about to pass a fuel carrier, and my fuel is about a quarter of a tank, so I'll fill up here. So one of the reasons that I haven't recorded for a couple of days is I've been messing around with my other save and my PC to try and resolve that audio issue. I have, first of all, I've verified my installation on Steam. I am stuck. There we go. Right. Verified my installation files on Steam. Played. Still got the same issue. And then I have now uninstalled and completely reinstalled the game. And still getting the same issue. All of my drivers, I've double checked, everything is up to date. My sound card, my motherboard. I did a firmware upgrade on my motherboard. Everything that I can think of doing, I've done. So it's a bit... I don't know where to go with that one next. Apart from trying to not let it bother me. Stop there a sec, turn the engine off. I just want to have a think about... Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer to me. Through the sawmill is the route. The only reason I might have gone the other way is that these bridges can be a little bit difficult with this long trailer, and I'm a little bit worried about coming around through those two bridges with this weight of cargo. So just take it steady and we should be alright. To get it rolling, it seems to need a bit of low and diff lock just to get that initial inertia shift. I also realised that I've made well, I've made a few mistakes on this hard mode, but then that's why I didn't look for spoilers from other people's playthroughs of it. Is that I learn and then live with my mistakes, and that's part of the challenge. But one of the mistakes I've made is in selling all of the other trucks that I got. So certainly, like the GMC that I sold and the Transstar that I sold, yeah, they made me probably close to 15,000 each, and that's been helpful in various stages of the game. But the problem it's created me is that when I move on to another map, one of the suggestions in comments that I really like is to have a fuel add-on attached to a truck, fill it up in this region, and then take it to the other region without taking it off the vehicle. And therefore, at the garage area of the other region, I'll have nearly 2,000 fuel in a fuel add-on to help me until I can find more fuel carriers and garage and etc. Fuel station, etc., etc. The problem I've got, because I've sold, and they would have been both of those trucks, even if I didn't intend using them for anything, is in terms of tasks. Either of those trucks would have been fine for that purpose. Whereas now the only trucks I've got are the White Western Star and the Fleet Star that can take that type of trailer, that type of add-on. So I've limited myself a little bit in terms of trying to do that activity in which vehicle I would use for it, because you can't just swap that add-on. If you do, you lose fuel. Any fuel that's in the add-on, when you unequip it, it gets lost. So yeah, I'm a little bit unsure how. If I'd have kept both the GMC and the Transstar, I could have put the service add-on on one of them and the fuel add-on, and buy a fuel add-on for the other, and then resupply them on the Smallville Dam map, stick them in the garage, pay to redeploy them, and yes, that's a cost, but that's probably cheaper than having to find fuel and maybe running out of fuel early doors on a new region. So yeah, that's a mistake I've made in this hard mode playthrough for sure, that I wish I had the benefit of the wisdom of the comments before I made that decision. And obviously I can avoid making that mistake again, right? So as I move forward, I won't just sell any vehicles that I get out of hand. I'll have a think about, alright, even if I don't want to use it for delivery, what other use might it have to help me tactically move forward in the game. One of three done. So from here, I've got a fuel bowser right there that's got some fuel in it that I'll fill up on the way out. Let's do this one next, and then we can have the middle one as the last. Yeah. Full on a night shift, no peace for the wicked, not allowed to have a sleep. Not even allowed to go into the what looks like a site office and get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Just got to keep going and hope I've got a flask in the cab. Oops. When I'm driving into things, I've probably got something a little bit stronger than a flask of coffee. nice shot of the moon there. 3/4 full, but it does feel like there's a little bit of daylight coming in as well. So I think this last one would probably be easier to do going via the lumberyard. Just in terms of the angles of the access road. So although it means navigating the 2 bridges, that wasn't too bad on the way in with this. Pick the line carefully and you can get through it without too much problem, I think. And it is longer on the map, or it looks a bit longer on the map, but I think it's just a easier route than trying to do a tight bend with a heavy cargo. Yeah, so if I'd have gone the other way and avoided the lumberyard, I would have had to come from the path on the right and then do a sharp right-hand turn with this trailer down that slope, and I wouldn't have fancied that much. And ditto in reverse. There's no way I'm going to come out of this and turn left. That feels like a disaster waiting to happen. So we'll retrace the steps we just used to come in to here. I did leave that ramped flatbed trailer here for this mission, but I think I just prefer this configuration with a semi rather than towing the dolly trailer. So again, I'm going to pay to auto load it in the interest of making progress. Because my goal at the start was to get all 3 done in one episode. Because honestly, I don't think we're that far from wrapping up this region. I know there are a couple of long haulage jobs to do, but I'm going to guess maybe 5 episodes would see Michigan finished. Yeah, if it's 5 more episodes, I think this might be episode 30 that I'm currently recording. I don't want to tab away and check, but I think this might be episode 30. And if it is, if I can finish Michigan in 5 more episodes and get on to Alaska, that would be good. But then it raises a question in my head as to whether to treat Michigan as season 1 from a YouTube perspective, and then call Alaska Season 2 as a different playlist, but that then puts you out of sync with the game's phase numbering, because Alaska is just the second map of Phase 1 in terms of the game numbers. I'm way overthinking that, aren't I? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Don't be doing any of that stuff. Not really much I can winch to. There's a big old tree root there. Missed my line slightly coming into this. I think I might actually want that tree root, that winch, off the side of the trailer onto that tree root, not the truck, so I can hold the trailer until I get my wheels on the bridge. That was a little bit of a wing and a prayer then. I had to release the trailer because the winch was pulling me backwards. Nearly, hey, nearly a bit of excitement to end the episode. Got the wrong line here again, really. What on earth am I doing? I'm missing my line totally here. I'm going to do the same again. I don't think these trees are substantial enough though. I think they're just going to pull right out by the roots. Put it into low. It's going, I can't stop it. It's gone. Ah, lapse of concentration right at the end. That's typical. And I haven't got any other vehicles on this map. I'm not entirely sure that the Fleet Star is heavy enough to pull that back on its wheels. So the Fleet Star is in Smithfield Dam, but the Pacific is all the way in Black River. But I honestly think the Pacific has the mass for what I need. Ah. Wow. That's literally a lapse of concentration at the end of the episode. Thinking about what I'll do in the next one. What's my fuel like before I go gallivanting away? Not good enough. I'm going to drive this all the way to Island Lake. Alright, I'm gonna cut this because this is not a challenging drive to get this to Island Lake. So I'm gonna, with the magic of editing, be right back Right, and just like that, we're back. Very uneventful drive down through Smithfield Dam to get back to the point that we can get this back on its wheels. And really, this is just here for mass, to be fair. I don't think the Fleet Star is heavy enough. So I'm going to try winching off the side to start with. That gets the White Western Star back on its wheels. Kill the engine on the Pacific. And it's got a nearly full tank of fuel. So I'm going to see if the Pacific is best placed to then winch the trailer back onto its legs at least. No. Right, that's better. Now I want to change over to the White Western Star. Pull forward a bit. Out the way of the trailer. And see about... see if I can winch it a little bit more sideways. I've obviously got to use the crane to get the cargo. I can't connect the trailer to the Pacific because it's got the wrong type of saddle. It's not a very nice place to have dropped it, to be honest, because it's trying to find a flat enough spot to operate the crane that's in the right position to be able to reach the cargo. That's probably as close to as good as I'm going to get. So activate the anchor to start with to stabilize myself. Then activate the crane. And the first thing I'm going to do is look at lifting the trailer pretty much back to where it needs to be, which is on the truck. Let's see if that will... So that attaches, and then the question is going to be whether or not I can maneuver the cargo from this far away to be close enough without risking pulling myself back over again. So I'm not trying to lift it yet, I'm just trying to drag it closer. Made that a lot harder for myself than it needed to be. This is the dangerous bit. Will it pack without tipping me over? For safety, I'm just going to put a line onto the P16 until I'm past that nasty bit. And driving down, I was just mulling over, obviously, I know the mistake I made. As soon as I knew this was going to tip over, or as soon as I knew it was in danger of tipping over, I should have detached the trailer, let the trailer go, and at least try and avoid the truck going over, because I can always recover with a truck and a crane. But I didn't react, and therefore it had time for the trailer to take me with it. Right, let go of the winch. The P16 is on its own. Put the lights on because it's dark and we don't want any more accidents. Up the gearbox a bit. No more lapses of concentration. Let's get it done. That is my fuel. Pretty good. Don't need to refuel on the way in. Look at how close we were to home. Right, here we go. That will be this contract completed. Engine off. Cargo. Unload. 770 experience and 6 grand cash. And we're now looking at 121,000 profile balance. So yeah, we've got a decent money buffer now to do what we want with, really. But I'm not going to be rushing out and buying any trucks soon. So it looks like the warehouse is available, and therefore just out of interest, what can you load here? Drilling equipment. And they've only got one of them. So that's going to have to be delivered somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, not doing that just yet. But I dare say that that makes this a good spot to leave this trailer. We've got 2 more of these trailers on this map, also dropped off various locations, so we will just leave that trailer there. I don't believe there's anything we want to do with it next, but I'm just going to quickly check. Let's have a look on the map and see what there is to do next. Task-wise, almost finished. We've got a scout mission and then find this truck, which we've already found. We just need to drag it. And then contracts, having completed instruments of development, that we've unlocked harbour delivery, which is to take this drilling equipment, one of them, to Drummond Island. Interesting. Oh, hang on a minute, what? So I could pick it up from here, but it's also telling me I could just take it from the site again. Drilling equipment. So I may as well pick it up from there and not have to carry it through the same part of the map. That's strange. So harbour delivery, move drilling equipment. What else? Okay, so that hasn't unlocked these because you need to do harbour delivery, which is delivering that one, followed by out with the old, which is a multitask, more complicated one. But it's not the one we're going to do now. In keeping with the theme of wanting to do at least one contract. Don't tip this over. One contract and one side task per episode. I'm going to go and get Rusty's vehicle for him, and I'm going to use the Pacific for it. And I'm going to put lights on. No messing. I did that nose first because I wanted to keep the drive wheels out of the swamp, although I don't think it would have made any difference to this Pacific. I think it would have dragged that out of there no matter what. It's quite funny how playing this game and maybe even posting my own videos with the title Pacific P16 in there has an effect on the YouTube algorithm, because I got a recommended video the other day from some truck history channel. And basically it was a history of Pacific. It's quite interesting. I think it's about half an hour. I'll link it in the description just in case. It's nothing to do with me. It's not like I'm not affiliated with them or anything. Just because of the content I've been playing and posting, probably. The algorithm put it into my feed, and it was all about how it started with a small handful of guys that left another company to form on their own, and ended up as quite a big organisation, and focused primarily on custom built logging trucks, primarily for Canada, although expanded out to be used all over the place. South Africa, they did quite a lot of work. So yeah, it's good, and it was kind of nice to see some real world footage of the Pacific trucks and the P16 specifically mentioned in a non-game context. Because being a Brit, it's not a vehicle that I've had any. You know, I'm not truck boffing by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just have a history in my family of my father was a lorry driver, and as a kid I used to go on road trips with him sometimes. So I've always kind of liked the big lorries. Very different to these. We don't have the long bonnets very much, unless somebody's done a custom import. The long bonnets are pretty much unknown in Europe, and I'm sure that somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory of that when I was a kid and watching movies with big American trucks and asking my dad why those types of trucks don't get used in our country is that in Europe and the UK, trucks are restricted by both their weight and their length, so therefore you can get the most cargo in a given length if you don't have a long bonnet, and that's why a lot of European trucks have a short or a flat nose, flat front, with the engine underneath the driver or behind the driver. So yeah, just a little bit of trivia there. But I think as a Brit, I think I'm allowed to say that I'll prefer the look of these big old long bonnet beasts as a bit of a amateur gearhead. I quite like this. Right, Rusty, I know you've been waiting a long time for me to bring this to you, mate. Sorry, I was otherwise distracted by rolling trucks over. But we first discovered this mission a long time ago. And you know, not an awful lot of money, but I don't deserve it given how long I made the man wait. Let's back myself out of here, so I don't log off and leave myself in a swamp. Well, the episode didn't really go to plan, but hey, it's all content, right? What's an episode of SnowRunner without tipping a truck over in the mud? And on that note, I think that is enough for one episode. I will be able to edit that down into something fairly tidy, I think, and hope you enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed making it. It's all going quite well. I'm quite pleased with the way that the other people are showing interest in the videos. It's really gratifying for me to see that and hear that, read that. So thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully see you in the next one. And goodbye.